Good afternoon, Grace. How are you?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm good. We've had a couple of sessions so far. Talked about some goal setting and things like that. I think we're gonna maybe revisit that a little bit today and kind of see where we're at with stuff. How does that sound for you?
Sounds good.
Okay. So let's start out with what has gone better this week for you.
This week in particular, unrelated to what I've talked about in the past with exercise and stuff like that, I've been intentional about meditation and intentionality.
Wonderful.
Headspace app that I think we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
I downloaded it and I've been using it, and it's just been, I have a really big assignment coming up that is causing a lot of anxiety and stress, and so it's been a great tool to like recenter myself and just take time to like clear my thoughts, and it's been really helpful in that way of just calming down and breathing, and then afterwards I can just with a clear mind start working on it, because I build it up and I'm a perfectionist and it becomes more than what it is, and it almost becomes debilitating the amount of anxiety I have about writing something that's really good. So it's curbed that in a lot of ways. In regards to running and walking, I walk. I've gone on a good amount of walks, which I think is what we talked about last time, is maybe because I enjoy doing it outside more to just alter and aim for that. And it's not as regular as I would like it to be, but I have made time to do it more than I have in the past.
Wonderful. So, just to kind of make sure I'm on the same page with you, you've incorporated some of the mindfulness stuff, and it's helping you feel more centered in everything, and kind of controlling some of your anxiety and things like that.
Yes.
Awesome. On top of that, you have continued with the walking/running, maybe more walking now. It's just not as regular as you would like it to be.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Let's see. Tell me a time before you, see if this is the right question to ask with regard to this. I guess let's start with this. First, what are your best hopes for today's session? Like, what would you like most to get out of today?
It's a good question. I think if anything, talking about my mentality that's attached with not achieving a routine off the bat. I think I've brought up before how I'm like this all in or all out type person. So when I have this plan that I'm gonna wake up at 8 a.m. and I'm gonna go on a walk, and that's like in my head, and then something comes up like work related, or maybe I sleep in, it's just like this mental beating that I go through where I'm like just thinking of, well, we've failed again, we can't get back on the horse, and it's just this, I berate myself, and I'm not kind to myself in allowing me to be like, okay, we will revisit this and we'll schedule again at another time. So I think talking about how I can make that mental internal dialogue that surrounds this change that I want to make with walking more, maybe talking about ways to make that better, or talking through it, I guess around there.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So trying to find a way to kind of turn off some of that self-talk that's telling you that if you're not completely in, doing it exactly as you have it pictured in your head, then it's kind of off the table.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about a time before you had these issues with the self-talk discouraging you from it. Was there a time, and I know we talked about this a little bit in the past, that when you were in high school it was easier for you because you had somebody there telling you what to do. So I guess tell me a little bit about that again to kind of see where that is in conjunction with kind of where your thinking is now.
Sure. Well, I think that I can even pinpoint a time when I was in between my undergrad and my graduate work that I'm in now, where I was just I was a parapro in a classroom, so I worked at a middle school. Very routine in that I know when I'm at work and I know when I'm out of work. And so I lived very close to a YMCA, so I had a membership there. And I got really good for like a month span of going to the gym really regularly, and I found people at the school that I worked at who also went to that YMCA. And then there was a whole like weight loss thing with teams, and like that was really motivating to be a part of, which I make a lot of connections there between like the team aspect of being in high school and like being a part, working with others in this like weight loss thing for the school. So it just made it really easy, and it made me hold myself accountable. I also though had the time to dedicate to it, and my life was way more stable than it is now. So I think I developed a lot of those key foundational habits, but it hasn't been able to adjust into the lifestyle that I have now. That's very sporadic, very unpredictable, very tiring. Like I'm way more tired now than I was then. So yeah, that's a period in my life where I was training for a half marathon and did that successfully, and it was like this goal that I was working towards that was good, and I had a running group with that. So it just was all these pieces where I had time and I had a community, if you will, that was motivating me.
Okay. So you kind of have this goal of wanting to be able to be more intentional and almost scheduled or regimented with your walking, running, whatever you choose to do that day. In your past, you have had more success of that when doing it in groups or on a team, correct? And you feel now that your schedule kind of hinders some of that, like before when earlier in your life you were diligent, it was work time, it was school time, and then you had you time.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you think you can do that would get you there now? Like how could we look at this, like putting together some objectives to get you to those things?
I guess just talking through it, I've been thinking a lot about doing group classes. I was talking with someone the other day and reminiscing on how I did hot yoga like regularly when I lived in Grand Rapids, where there was a hot yoga studio really close by, and it felt so good. Hot yoga is just amazing. I miss it so much. But like being able to, because it had that exercise aspect, but it also had that mindfulness aspect in it as well. There is a yoga class that's taught in our rec center by students. It's just the getting up and going to it and making it a priority, which I'm struggling with.
Right.
And I'm struggling with so much. Because it's easy to say, and then you get into the thick of life and school and and feeling like guilty if I'm going to go exercise instead of like work on a paper, or like, oh, I have this amount of time to sleep. I'm gonna choose sleep over exercise. But I feel like I'm getting away from the solution. So
just real quick with that. So what you're saying then is, on one hand,
yeah.
you have the opportunity that there is something where you work or where you're at now with this group yoga class, but on the other hand, you still struggle with finding the time or feeling guilty for sectioning out that part of time for yourself. Am I kind of on target there?
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say, like, I know that resource is there. It's just the doing it is hard. Yeah.
Okay. So some skills that we can look at, or some skills that we can look at to help turn off some of that self-talk, because we've talked about it, and you know that, or you have mentioned that the taking care of yourself, self-care, that was the term I was looking for, is super important in your life, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about some things that you think would help you focus on the self-care and turn off some of the bad self-talk.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you think, what are some things that what are some areas you could go to do that?
Well, definitely this Headspace app has so much, like, I was like, I don't think an app is gonna help me, like, chill out. But I gave it a chance, and it really is a really great program that has someone that's talking through things with you, and just, I feel like that's the foundation. Like, before exercise, it seems like this mindfulness piece is what I'm missing, and like the being able to think clearly, because I don't know if that's also contributing to the lack of exercise, is just like having scattered thoughts and like just trying to figure out where to put my energy and time most of the time. So I definitely think that would be a great starting place, is weaving in more meditative sessions, about like 10 minutes or so is what I've been doing for the past week.
Good. So we could look at then, you said you're doing it 10 minutes, how many times a week?
I just started, so it was like, I did it like 2 times last week, not a lot.
Okay. What do you think would be a good amount to do that would kind of put you in a better mindset?
Every day at least once.
For the 10 minutes?
Say. Yeah.
So once a day, if we can incorporate the mindfulness using the Headspace app,
yeah.
once a day for 10 minutes. Okay, good. So that kind of gives us a direction to start going in. Let's see. Does this, incorporating this into your daily schedule, how do you think that will affect the other things you have going on? Do you feel like that's going to be something to cause you more anxiety because you're adding another piece to things?
I think, I don't think that adding Headspace will cause me more anxiety. That's like the beauty of it, is that I think exercise was that thing that was causing me more anxiety. So starting with Headspace, where it's a thing that is built to directly tackle that, and just, if I just start it, if I just do it, I know that by the end I'll feel better and calmer, because that's the outcome that I've had both of the times. It's like, okay, too much is going on, I could be doing this other thing, but this needs to take precedence right now. And so in making that time, I have been able to rely on, when I do a session, I know that I'm going to be calmer by the end. So it's something that I've seen benefit in, and doesn't take a lot of time, literally just sitting anywhere with headphones in and just closing your eyes for a bit and taking that time. It's very low maintenance, and so I think I could be successful with that for sure.
Good. So just to kind of go over things here and see that we're on the same page and have everything summarized here. we're looking at the goal, I guess, that we've talked about today is finding a way to turn off some of the negative self-talk that you have. The self-talk that leads from, if I don't do it exactly the way I have it pictured in my head, working out or running or walking, then I might as well not do it at all.
Yeah.
So the way that we have come up with, or an objective we can look at to get you there, you've talked about using this Headspace app and taking that time for yourself. We've examined or looked and thought out about how that extra time in your day, will that hinder you or cause you more anxiety? And you think that the whole point behind the Headspace stuff is to get you calm and get you where you need to be. So it doesn't feel like something that's going to cause you more anxiety or anything like that. Does that all sound
Right.
about right?
Yeah, yeah.
Wonderful. We've done a lot here. So let's see how this works for you. Give this stuff a try, and then we'll come back next time and we'll kind of see where we are at from there, okay? How does that sound?
Sounds good.
I really appreciate you coming out here today. Thanks.
Mhm.